Hey guys, Steph Davis here from flipthiswholesaler.net, where I teach you to make more money, flip more houses, and kick more ass. I am here on a Tuesday afternoon with a brand new Q&A Tuesday video for you guys. And my question this week comes from Melody. And Melody writes, "Hey Steph, I'm just getting started in Chicago and I'm wondering if it's absolutely necessary to have a buyer's list before I get started. I've heard some gurus say yes and others say no. What's your advice?" Thank you, Melody. All right, so we have the age-old question of whether or not you need to have a buyer's list in place before you get started as a wholesaler. And the short answer to that is no. It is not imperative that you have a buyer's list before you get started. In fact, when I put my first property under contract back in 2006, I did not have a single buyer on my buyer's list. I don't even think I knew what a buyer's list was. The fact of the matter is, though, if you get a deal under contract and it's actually a good deal, it's going to sell whether you have 0 buyers or you have 100. As long as you get the word out there and as long as it's actually a good deal, it will sell. So that's the short answer to the question. However, if you are just getting started and you don't know anything about your market, I highly suggest that you do line up some buyers first. I actually suggest that you do 2 things if you're just getting started. Number 1 is to locate an area within your city where there is a lot of investor activity. Okay, I teach people to, if they're just getting started, especially if they're in a big area, in a big city, to pick one part of town, whether it be a neighborhood or a zip code, and really focus in on that area and become an expert at it. Now, my suggestion for choosing an area is to pick somewhere where there is a very high amount of cash sales. You can do this by doing a search in the MLS. You can just do a search for the last 90 days of properties that were sold for cash and then sort those results by zip code and pick the zip code that has, or zip codes that have the highest amount of cash sales. Okay, those cash sales are typically going to be investor sales, and that's where you want to be. You want to be in an area because you are a wholesaler and you're going to be selling your deals to cash investors. So you want to be in an area where there are a lot of cash transactions taking place. Now, if you don't have access to the MLS, you can have a realtor do this search for you. It only takes a couple of minutes, or you can just kind of ask around. Start going to RIA meetings, find out where I call them the investor hotspots are. Find out where the cash investors, where there's a lot of investor activity, a lot of cash investor activity. So that is the first thing that I suggest you do. And then number 2, the second thing, once you have pinpointed an area that you really want to laser focus in on, is to find some cash buyers who are currently buying in that area. Okay, there's a whole bunch of ways to find cash buyers. They're all over the place. One thing that anyone can do, it's very easy when you're out driving through the neighborhood, which I also recommend you do when you're just getting started. Pull a list of recent cash transactions and then go drive through the neighborhood and drive by those houses. You really need to get to know the area well. It makes a huge difference. I know it's a pain in the butt, but it makes a huge difference. So while you're out driving around the neighborhood, getting to know the area, if you see any for rent signs while you're driving through the neighborhood, call the number up. Tell them that you're a wholesaler. Say that you saw that they had a property for rent on such and such a street. Are you looking for any more rentals in the area? If they say yes, ask them what type of deals they're looking for. What price range are they looking to buy at in that neighborhood? All right, it might be a little bit uncomfortable, but after you've talked to 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 investors, people who are looking for properties in that neighborhood, you're going to start to get a very good idea of where your numbers need to be when it comes time to make offers. I see probably the biggest mistake that I see beginners make is they will go out, they won't do any research at all, they'll go out and do a whole bunch of marketing, and then when sellers start calling them, they will have absolutely no clue what to offer. Okay, there's probably a whole bunch of people who are watching this video right now who have sellers that they need to call back, but they don't know what to offer because they don't know what the cash buyers are looking for and how much they're willing to pay. So you can alleviate that problem by doing your homework up front. Go find some buyers, talk to the buyers, and ask them what they're looking for in a deal. Okay. And this isn't, by the way, I don't just tell other people to do this. This is exactly what I did when I moved to St. Pete a year ago. It's only across the bridge from Tampa, but I had never done any business in St. Pete. I didn't know the neighborhoods. I didn't know the market. I didn't know what the buyers were looking for. So the first thing that I did was, number one, I pinpointed a zip code that had a lot of investor activity. And then second, I went and I found out who the buyers were who were currently buying properties for cash in that area, and I found out what they were looking for in a deal. You know, it takes a little bit of time, a little bit of effort. You might be uncomfortable calling these people and having these conversations, but I'm telling you, it makes your life as a wholesaler so much easier, and it gives you so much more confidence when it comes time for you to start making offers. So that's my suggestion. Again, it's not imperative. You do not have to have a buyer's list before you get started. But I recommend, especially if you're a beginner, that you do. It will just give you a lot more confidence when it comes time to talk to sellers or to make offers on the MLS. So if you're looking for even more ways to find cash buyers, I've got some videos on YouTube if you look through my YouTube channel, but I also have, if you haven't picked it up already, my Cash Buyer Ninja video training course. It's 3.5 hours of in-depth video training where I go in on my computer. All the stuff is done on the computer, and I find out who the cash buyers are and show you how to find out their contact information. And you could literally, you know, do the stuff that I teach you in that training and have yourself a really nice buyer's list in a couple of days if you follow what I teach you. So you can get that at cashbuyerninja.com. If anyone who is watching this has any additional comments that they would like to add, feel free to leave them below this video in the comments section on my blog. If you're watching this on YouTube, I do have the comments disabled. So you can head over to my blog. It's flipthiswholesaler.net. Leave a comment or a suggestion if you have any other input that you would like to add. So that's it for today. I will see you guys next Tuesday. Bye-bye.